And just make sure. Looks like we are live. It looks like we are set to go. So excited about this. Welcome to another edition of our speaker series, Voices of Impact, brought to you by BeSpoken Collective. Voices of Impact is a dynamic series that amplifies the stories, insights, and experiences of top notch leaders who are driving meaningful change in their industries and in their communities. Each session highlights authentic voices, making an impact through leadership, inclusion, innovation, and purpose. It is my absolute pleasure to welcome as our speaker today, Malone DiNicola. Thank you so much for joining us. We'll make time for some questions at the end. With that, I will hand it over to Sam.
Hi, thank you. Yeah, thanks for having me, Andrew. I'm really happy to be here. Today, Andrew and I really talked about what we thought would be the most valuable. I'm Sam DiNicola. I am a growth and visibility strategist. I primarily work with small and medium-sized businesses to help them get visibility and grow their business, right? So I have a marketing background, and I've been working with small and medium businesses now for almost 15 years, which is hard to believe because I look so young, I'm sure. I'm located in Jacksonville, Florida. I have 3 young children, so that's why I say it's probably hard to believe I look like I've been doing this for over 15 years now, but here we are. And so today we really thought it would be helpful for everyone to talk about visibility kind of in the age of AI. So how to get your business seen in 2026 and how AI is really affecting marketing and visibility in general right now for businesses. So I'm sure whether you're in marketing or not in marketing, whether you're a business owner or you work within a business, you may have noticed or seen or heard about the fact that what used to work is not working anymore, or it's not working as effectively anymore for businesses. Maybe that's looked like the business is getting less website traffic. That might look like less leads coming in. That might look like less revenue coming in, right? And so a lot of businesses are in a situation now where they're trying to figure out what's next. How do we need to evolve? How do we need to adjust our strategies to ensure that we're still visible to our target audience, to our target customers, so that we can continue not only to make up for any lost revenue, but continue to grow? Visibility really used to mean, ranking on the first page, the first 3 results of Google. It used to mean being active on social media, right? It might even mean, growing your email list and making sure that you're staying in touch with your email list, right? That's what visibility really looked like in the past. And then we layered on ads to that visibility, right, in the digital realm. But now there's this kind of really big shift that's been happening in terms of how buyers are doing their research, their purchasing research, how they're moving down the purchasing funnel. And a big part of that shift has been AI. So you will see, if you look at, okay, what number of users are using Google still to do search, to do their research before they make a purchase versus users who are now turning to AI tools to get that same information. There's a big shift. Those numbers are continuously changing, with that portion that's utilizing AI to do their research growing month over month over month. More and more users are turning to AI tools, AI search tools to get information. But the biggest thing is most AI search tools give answers. They don't just give a list of links that person is then going to go through and click to and see what website looks good and who's coming up first in search results. And, that's not how the research phase is working for a lot of users now. Instead, AI is giving them a recommendation. People aren't really browsing, they're asking and they're receiving an answer. receiving a recommendation, what is in effect a referral from AI. So what that means is a lot of business owners I've been talking to about this over the last 18 to 24 months is they think they have a marketing problem. They haven't run ads in the past, so they think now is the time we need to start running ads, or we need to be posting more on social media or be visible in more places. They think it's marketing, right? And they think, okay, well, we can utilize AI to do more marketing. But what's actually happening is these businesses have a visibility architecture breakdown. So, how they are getting visible in the online space is no longer in alignment with how people are using online tools to do their own research, to discover new businesses, to discover solutions to their problems. So, that's really the visibility shift we've been seeing in 2025 and now continuing to see in 2026. There's a shift in this mental model. So AI tools are really, and this, you might be thinking, oh, I still use Google, but you might have noticed that in most searches now, there is a little AI overview box right at the top. So before any organic search results that are ranking on the first page of Google results, there's an AI overview box that's giving that summary, that's giving that answer, that's giving that recommendation. So even though we might think, oh, Google, that's a traditional search engine, right? But even that is being affected by AI search. So these AI tools are now the first layer of discovery for most users. Again, whether they are turning to a ChatGPT, a Perplexity, a Claude, anything like that to directly ask their question into and to put their, search into, or whether they're still using Google, but Google is providing them with this AI overview. AI is that first layer of discovery, and it doesn't often show lists. Even if you ask it for top 5 med spas near me, right? That is a list technically, but typically it is going to give a recommendation based on parameters that it already knows about that user. And again, that is acting as a referral. It's acting as a recommendation. So whereas they used to maybe click through the first 3 to 5 links in their Google search results, now they're looking through this list, but AI is saying, here's the 5 that I recommend. Here's why. It's giving some anecdotes like this one really specializes in anti-aging, or this one is not just a med spa, but you can also get like massages and other things like that. And I know that you're trying to focus on, relaxing more this year. It knows about that person. It knows what that person has asked about previously, like all tools do, right? All these tools know these things about you, but it's actually tailoring the results based on what it knows about them and making a recommendation. So previously, it used to just be about being on page 1, right? Showing up when they're on social media, showing up in their inbox. Now you need to be the answer. You need to be the source of the answer. You need to be consistently present in these answers, in these recommendations, in these referrals. It shows answers and summaries and recommendations. So if you are not coming up in those answers, summaries, and recommendations, you do not exist to them. There is much less chance of you getting that visibility, that discoverability, because if they've already received a recommendation from AI, they're already inherently trusting that result more than they would than when they used to just click through, the top 3 to 5 search result links and kind of doing their own more critical thinking, looking for their own trust indicators on your website. So that's what's really important now, is showing up in those results. How do you show up in those results to create this visibility in this shifting landscape of visibility? So it's not about content volume, even though it seems like, oh, people are putting out so much more content now because they're using AI. And so we also just need to put out more content and be active in more places. it's really not about the volume. It's about being extremely specific in the content that you are producing so that you are able to get picked up and appear in those recommendations and in those summaries that AI search is providing. So what's really happening to so many businesses at this point is they are not showing up in these summaries. They're not showing up. And that is why they're seeing a decrease in website traffic, a decrease in leads, a decrease in revenue, because they haven't made this visibility shift to make sure they are being consistently provided to in these recommendations and in these summaries. Okay. So you may be experiencing your marketing team or your, C-suite saying, we just need to do more. We need to post more. We need to be in more places. We need to do more. But it's still not making a difference. You're still not seeing results. You're still not showing up. It's not a volume problem. It's not about being on every platform. It's a visibility strategy problem. So what's often happening, what I see often happening in these situations is you're creating so much content, but it feels disconnected, right? You're talking about everything, so you're really talking about nothing. The content that is being produced is not structured for AI. It's not structured in a way that it will most likely show up in AI search results. And they're just relying on trends to get in front of the most eyeballs, but it's not clear enough. When this happens, AI tools are not going to be able to understand what you do, understand the problem that you solve and who you solve it for. It's not going to give the AI tools trust indicators. And if they lack trust indicators from you, they will not recommend you. And so then they will not pull you into those summaries and those answers. So you're just not being understood by these AI search tools. Now, one thing that I always like to kind of point out is Google, right? It's existed for many years now, how to rank on the first page of Google, right? I've worked with clients for many years on search engine optimization, SEO. How you optimize to show up in AI search results. You may have heard AEO, GEO, AIO, right? This is all having to do with being visible to AI search tools. They don't look for the exact same things as traditional search engines. The things that they weight most importantly in deciding whether you're going to show up or not show up in those recommendations are not exactly the same as what traditional search engines have looked for. They want to, AI search tools, their goal is to get an understanding of your business, not just on your website, but your entire digital footprint. They want consistency, they want specificity, and they need those trust indicators. That's what they weight the most heavily when deciding if you're going to show up in that summary or that recommendation, that AI search result. So even though these same AI tools are making it easier and easier to create more content and create more content faster, that means the internet and users and these AI search tools are being flooded with all of this generic content, and you may have noticed this even personally, content that seems kind of similar, right? There's not standing, it's just kind of there. There's so much of it. So much of it sounds exactly the same, right? A lot of content lately, you may have noticed, it feels like it's saying a lot when it means nothing. It's saying nothing at all. It's not taking a stance. It's not proving a point. It's not bringing in real world, experience or stories or anecdotes. That is a sign of AI content, right? So that right away is not going to help you show up in AI search results, because those AI search tools are not going to see you differentiated, your content, your digital footprint differentiated from all of the other AI slop that is being put out there. Again, not just on your website with blog posts, but on your social media, all of these things. AI search tools look at your entire digital footprint, not just your website. Okay. So, what really helps you stand out and helps you show up in AI search results and helps you stand out to users who are being inundated with all of this AI slop is really clear, specific thinking, not broad advice, but much more defined problems, defined solutions, defined audience. Specificity is really important, both to users right now to make them really feel like you understand them, you see them, and you're helping. You are here to help solve their problem, or tell them what they need to know. And for AI search results, who are trying to weed through all of this AI slop to provide the best recommendations possible and the most relevant recommendations possible to that user that's made that search. The other thing that really helps you stand out is creating structured answers. So this is that specificity piece, right? But this is also content that directly answers real questions. So an example of this would be thinking about what are some frequently asked questions that you get all the time. And instead of writing a blog post that is so broad and all encompassing, and if you've done SEO work in the past, is 2,500 words and it's covering a lot of things, and there's opportunity for all, your main keywords and your long tail keywords to get touched on in that blog post. Instead, AI search is much more likely to rank something more highly that is maybe a little bit shorter, but extremely specific, extremely relevant to answering a very specific question. And it's also about having a consistent perspective. So this is not just like random information or tips or pieces of value that you're just putting out there because you're trying to put out this such extreme volume of content. This is putting out content that has that perspective, that has a specific point of view. That is what is going to help set you apart, both for users right now, but also for these AI search tools. So the businesses that stand out aren't doing more. They're not doing it louder. They're doing it more clearly. They're doing it more specifically. And that is also what is really going to help you build trust with users. There is such a lack of trust now online. Nobody believes anything that anybody's saying or putting out or claiming to be true, right? People are, again, inundated with such a volume of content, with such a volume of AI slop, with such a volume of noise, that if you are creating content, if you are creating visibility that is really leaning on trust and familiarity principles like recognition, so someone reading your content and thinking, oh my gosh, they're in my brain. This is the exact problem I'm having. Consistency, so putting out the same answers, the same messaging, the same value across all of the platforms, across your entire digital footprint. Making sure that that is always useful. It's actually helpful. It's actionable. It's not just putting something out to put it out there, to have more out there. That is what's really going to build that trust. And then that trust is what's going to help build familiarity and help people to take action. Okay. So new trust signals are now being referenced by AI answers, right? In those summaries, in those recommendations, in those search results. It's also showing up consistently, not everywhere, but in a few places that your target customers are spending their time online. Being consistent with your messaging and showing up in those places with that consistent messaging all the time. Not all the time, but consistently over and over and over again. And when you're showing up consistently, you are bringing clear expertise. You're bringing clear anecdotes, right? You're bringing, we've been doing this, and here's how you can trust that we've been doing it for a long time, that we understand you, right? That have that recognition of your problem. It's not about broad messaging. It's not about talking everything to everyone all the time. Visibility is what's going to help you get seen. That clarity is what's going to get you trusted, both by users and by these AI search results. So as we're wrapping up here, because I want to be respectful of everyone's time, I really want you to think about making 3 visibility shifts. So instead of content creation, think of it as answer creation. So don't think of it as, I need to post something today. What should I post? Think of it as, what is my audience asking? What value, what question can I answer for them today? Specific question. Don't think of it as how many platforms am I on? Think of it as, where is my presence? So you're not trying to be using every channel. You are building consistency and trust across key platforms, across key channels. And instead of thinking about your volume that you're putting out, your volume of content, your visibility as it relates to volume, instead think about structure, how you're structuring it to make it the most understandable for AI search tools. Clear topics, clear formatting, clear messaging. These are the 3 shifts that are going to have the most impact on your visibility moving forward. This is how you become visible now without creating more content and being more places all the time. The businesses that are going to win in the next few years aren't the ones that are doing the most. They're going to be the ones that are the easiest to understand, the easiest to trust, and the easiest for AI to recommend. So I hope this was helpful. If you are curious about, is your business showing up in AI search? If it's showing up in AI search, what is it recommending? What is it saying about your business? I do have a freebie that I'm going to offer you guys today. I think we can pop it in the chat for you, and I'll post it in the event on LinkedIn as well, a link to it. But it's just a freebie, and it walks you through how to audit your visibility with AI right now. So it's called my AI visibility audit, and it takes 10 minutes to do, but it's going to start to give you an idea of, am I showing up in AI search results? And if so, is it in a way that I want to be showing up, right? And then from there, you can really start to look at, how can we mindfully build this visibility in this new AI search world? So I hope that was really helpful. I think we have some time for questions, Andrew, if there were any questions.
Yeah, so I do have a few. Thank you so much for your talk today. I've taken down so many notes and so many things that I want to discuss with you. So for those that are checking it out today, either right now or in the future, a day or 2 from now, you mentioned one thing that kind of caught my attention. You were saying that when you're putting in stuff in AI, to be specific. So it's a conversation that I'm having a lot with a lot of people lately. When you say specific, can you give us a couple of examples of, let's say, a business that you're working with or your business, and what you mean by specific questions?
So you may have heard it, whether you're using AI to create content for your business, or what we're talking about in terms of creating content that's most likely to show up in AI search results. AI, just across the board, likes that really clear specificity, right? So if you're using AI to help you create content, absolutely you want to be specific, right? So you want to tell it what you want it to produce. You want to tell it, you want to give it parameters, right? AI loves parameters. It loves guardrails, right? Don't say this, do say this, use this tone of voice, all of those things. That is just general best practice for utilizing AI, these AI tools. In terms of AI search, which is what we're talking about, it's the example of, so I think a good example is, I have a client who, she was seeing decreased traffic, decreased revenue. And so we really looked at, okay, where do we have content that is actually this really nice, huge, sweeping content, right? So she is a newborn and child sleep consultant for people who are having issues, with their children sleeping. And we know for any parents out there, that is really tough. It's a tough time. I've experienced it myself, right? And so, instead of writing a blog about newborn sleep, an example of that would be instead write blog posts about the 4-month sleep regression, or write a blog post about how to handle it once your newborn, your baby, starts turning over onto their stomach, but they can't get back around yet. So what can you do to turn them back over in bed so that they can get back to sleep, but without having to do like a whole reset or feed them to get them to go back to sleep?
Mm-hmm.
Super specific problem, right? And so what that's going to result in is when it's 3 a.m. and I'm Googling, how do I do that thing? You've created content that's specifically answering that question. And so you're so much more likely that AI is going to recommend your content either in a summary and it will cite you as a source, or, oh, check out this blog post from this sleep consultant. So that's what I'm really talking about. And so you could even go through and look at the content that you have, whether that's a blog post, whether that's social media posts, and think about, is there a way, if I make multiple points in this piece of content, can I split that content up actually into 5 very specific pieces of content that are answering one very specific question? And that is what AI search tools really like to see, because it's very directly relating an answer or a solution to a very specific problem or search inquiry.
So what you're saying in layman's terms, if you correct me if I'm wrong, but more, when you say specific, more about our experiences, the stuff that we're going through. So a little bit more vulnerability in that, instead of just a direct, like, this is what you do.
Well, I think it's about that recognition piece, right? That I talked about. So understanding, like, listen, I know this problem that you're having, and this is the solution that I would recommend for this specific problem, right? That vulnerability definitely helps and comes into play by using specific anecdotes, specific examples, right? That is what's going to help build that trust. So the specificity is what helps get the visibility, because that's what AI search tools like to see. And that anecdote, that vulnerability, is what builds trust with users, but it's also a trust indicator for those AI search tools. So you're getting 2 layers of indicators to these AI search tools, like, this is a good solution for this answer, right? I'm gonna provide this as an answer to this person's question that they've typed into ChatGPT.
The other thing that caught my attention is when you're talking about frequently asked questions. Through your experience, Sam, are you finding that answering these or writing these frequently asked questions, is that helping to solve a lot of the concerns or the things that a customer could be looking for in a business?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's creating the content about FAQs. So, like, instead of just covering 5 kind of frequently asked questions that are about, newborn sleep, and then, like, going over, just to go back to that example, going over like a few different pitfalls that people experience with newborn sleep. Instead, creating pieces of content for each of those individual possible issues that people are bringing up, right? My child can't self-soothe, separation anxiety, whatever it is, creating individual content for each of those pieces, again, helps me to think, oh, wow, this is my exact problem. And this person is presenting this solution to my exact problem, versus just, these are all the things that could be happening with newborn sleep, right? Instead, I'm like, wow, this is so specific to me. This is specific to my issue. And again, that builds trust. So depending on the type of business, that's helping. It's might be answering their question, but we all know so often, okay, I've had this question now answered and I really believe you. I trust that you know what you're talking about. Now I have these 17 other questions, right? So I trust you. So I do want to buy your course about newborn sleep, or I do want to book a sleep a one-on-one sleep consultation to be able to tell you my specific situation and problems, and have you directly tell me what I should be doing, right? So another example of this would be, say, like you're a roofing company. That's a service. So that's still much more, just because you told me why I have a leak that keeps happening just in one corner of my room, in one corner of the house, you have told me, okay, yeah, that's because some of your fascia, your gutters are backed up and it's backing up and coming through your fascia into the house. And that's why you have that continuous leak in the corner, no matter what you do with it. Great. You've answered my question. You understand my problem. I've now built trust. I'm not going to now turn around and fix my gutters and my fascia and my roof, patch my roof. No, you're going to do that. I'm not going to do that myself. But that has built trust that I feel like you understand my problem, you know my problem, and so you can then go fix my problem for me. So it works depending on whether it's a product, whether it's a service, whether it's education based. It works in all different aspects, because you're always building or taking away trust when someone is discovering your business and deciding if they want to work with you or not.
Sam, I've been so lucky to have met you and to have collaborated with you. For people who are checking this out, either right now or at a later time, how can they get a hold of you?
Yeah, so I mean, I'm active on Instagram. Sam DiNicola Digital is my handle. Website, samdinicoladigital.com. I do, share content around these things. But if anybody is kind of dipping their toe, we all hear about how you can use AI in your business to be more productive, right? This is really the other side of that coin. As people learn to use AI, it becomes more and more important to be showing up in those AI results, right? In those AI search results. That's where it becomes so much more important for your visibility. So I really recommend anybody who's starting to dip their toe in the water with this, anybody who's noticed a decrease in website traffic or revenue or any of those things, really grab that AI visibility audit freebie and just go take the 10 minutes to go through that. It's really going to help start you on the path to identifying, are we showing up? If we're not showing up, how can we start showing up? What does that look like for our business? And then, please, if you have any questions, feel free to reach out. This is something that I've been talking about for quite a while now. I know a lot of other people in the SEO and search space have been talking about this for, a good amount of time now. But for business owners, for C-suite, for people who are not in this day in and day out, even marketing departments that don't specialize in SEO or AI search, this is kind of a whole new thing, a whole new ball game, right? So it can be really overwhelming. But the good thing is AI search optimization and your content, they can be so closely linked, and you can start to make adjustments to your content, to your strategy, that are going to help you start getting that visibility pretty quickly. Like, you can really start to see some movement and some results, which is really great. So I would really recommend grabbing that AI visibility audit.
I'm probably going to do it myself just for fun, Sam. So I love the fact that you're putting that out there, and I love the fact that you're putting it on our event page today so that people can check it out for sure. And I do want to take the time to thank you for coming on. It's the second time working with you, and it's been an absolute pleasure. And I look forward to further times that you and I can work together. You are an absolute gem, and I am super impressed with all the good things and the hard work that you do, professionally and personally.
Thank you. It's my pleasure.
You're very welcome. On behalf of myself and my speaker today, Sam Malone DiNicola, I'd like to thank you all for joining us today. We hope to join us next time. But until then, be safe. And remember, everyone, when we lead with heart, we impact or the impact follows.